Hello viewers, today we'll be looking at some past paper questions related to the kinetic theory of matter as well as the heating curve. So let's run through the questions quickly. Alright, let's look at the first question. What does the kinetic theory of matter state? Alright, what we have to understand about the kinetic theory of matter is that the kinetic theory of matter states that matter is made of tiny particles. That's the first part we have to understand. Matter is made of tiny particles. Alright, these tiny particles, they are not just in a stationary position. No, they are in constant random motion. The kinetic theory of matter states that matter is made of tiny particles that are in constant random motion. Let's move on to the next question. The following diagram shows a heating curve of a substance. So one thing you have to understand about a heating curve, it does not only deal with ice or water. A heating curve can be of any substance that has a melting point and a boiling point, a fixed melting point and a fixed boiling point. So this could be any substance. There's temperature here and there's time there. All right, let's look at the first question here. The first question is asking what state of matter is the substance at point A? So what we have to understand is that the substance begins as a solid. So point A is what? Solid. All right? Then at this point here, we can name this point L. Point L is a liquid. And point E is a gas. All right? But the question is asking us about point A. Point A is a what? A solid. What of point B to C? B to C. Many people get confused when they see such a question. So what we have to understand is that the state of matter between point B and C is simply solid and liquid. So the state of matter is both solid and liquid. Solid and liquid. All right, let's look at the last question here. What happens to the temperature of the substance at the point B to C, and explain why? Okay, so what happens to the temperature at this point B to C? So what you have to understand is that the temperature remains constant. So it remains the same, it doesn't change. If the temperature here was maybe 50 degrees Celsius, it won't change. It will be what? The same. It will remain what? Constant. All right. So why does it remain constant? Because the amount of energy supplied here is used to do what? Break bonds. Because the amount of energy that is supplied here, that is used here, is used to do what? Break bonds. That is the reason why the temperature remains constant. So we say because the temperature at that point is used to break bonds. Break bonds. All right? The temperature is used to break bonds. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes today's lesson. I advise you to subscribe, to share, and like for more. Share. Make sure you share. All right, see you in the next one.